that threatens our kingdom, our freedom. But we have a weapon they are not prepared for.
My king, the Europeans wish to conquer us. They will not stop until the whole of Africa is theirs. We must fight back for our people.
Maneska, you are asking me to take them to war. War.
Some things are worth fighting for.
Don't know, take my power. Don't know, take my power.
You are called to join the king's guard.
Don't know, take my power.
No kingdom in all of Africa shares this privilege. Train hard, fight harder. We fear no one. And we fear no pain. I offer you a choice. Fight or we die.
Ready for war, where you going?
To be a warrior, you must kill your tears.
We are the spear of victory! We are the blade of freedom! We are the Dahomey!
Don't know, take my power. Don't know, take my power.
So I was going to make my video about the Woman King, which right off top, you already know that the title is just totally messed up. The Woman Queen or Woman King, it should be the Woman Queen, but it's the Woman King. And, you know, given the whole gender war dynamic that's going on in the black community and what seems to be all this penis envy and black women not wanting to play any sort of traditional role, and then, you know, you got the feminists and the LGBT that want to present, you know, movies like this, and, you know, you have women who in one breath will sit there and say that it's empowering, and then in another breath, you know, when these images, you know, get, which are doing nothing more than reinforcing, you know, old stereotypes, you know, of the masculinized, you know, strong black woman, then they get mad. You know, then they get upset when they get hit over the head with, you know, you look like a man, you carry yourself like a man, black women are aggressive, and then, you know, how that interferes with the, you know, the desire to swirl or the desire to be seen as soft and feminine, right? But I hate when some of the women come over and they so I posted Dr. T. Hassan Johnson's video. I watched his video, and usually I like to comment before I post anybody else's video. But I watched his video, and you know, it's kind of like where there's a general consensus on certain like highlights, like certain points about the trailer, because you know we haven't seen the movie, we don't know where the movie's going to go, and movies usually, you know, have some sort of angle, something that wasn't in the trailers that you're like, you know. But I posted his link, and then I had a woman that called herself caramel coated, and this is just, you know, whether it's a mixed woman or whether it's a woman that's black that's pretending to be mixed. I get these like trolls that come over, but I hate the simple mindset. So they posted underneath the on my community tab, I posted Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. They posted a link to O'Shea, the Duke Jackson. No comment, no nothing. But O'Shea's position is basically just blaming black men because we don't have our own movie. which is the angle that I was actually going to make in my commentary of making this video, because I was just like, see, this is what happens when we don't create our own shit. And this goes back to a point that Captain Solo made a long time ago, and this goes back to the old Gen X days about how if you don't represent yourself, people are going to misrepresent you. White people are going to misrepresent you. It is not in the collective best interest of white people to represent you better than they represent themselves. There's always going to be a twist. There's always going to be a curveball. There's always going to be some fuckery in there. Okay. And this is what happens. And, you know, a lot of times, even when we think a movie is underneath full black creative control, and you saw this with Dave Chappelle, when Dave Chappelle talked about how, you know, the executives, he had some sort of skit, and the executives were like, you know, well, you got this sister playing the part, but we want you to have this other woman, this non-black woman. I don't know whether she was racially ambiguous or non-black. I think she was not a white woman, but we want her to play this part.
I was in Ohio. I get a call on my cell phone from Hollywood. I'm like, hello, Hollywood. They're like, hello, Dave. They're like, that pilot you did for Fox, looks like they want to pick it up. We need you to come out because they want to meet with you. And I was like, well, listen, I can't really come out right now. Got a real bad situation at home. Can we talk about this on the phone? No, they would rather meet with you in person. But you know, like the horror that they turned us into, I jumped on that plane and left my father's bedside, which I regret to this day. And I went out and I sat with these people in this room. And if you can imagine a large circle of people, and I was 12 o'clock, the black dude. Yeah, Dave, we really liked the show, but the pilot episode was about me getting booed off stage at the Apollo. They go, you know, but what are we going to do about it? I mean, there's not really any white people in it. I said, well, it's about the Apollo. It's not really white. Well, you know, we were thinking about the girl on the show. We didn't think she was that funny, not that good looking. I think we should recast her, maybe. And they start using terms like universal appeal. Basically saying they want me to recast the girl with a white woman. I say, yeah, I don't think I can do this, and I quit. On the cover of Variety, Chappelle pulls the race card. The race card. And I get calls from Newsweek, 60 Minutes. Everybody, we want your story. Now I'm scared to death. I'm like Rosa Parks or something. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I was just venting a little bit. And then, a few months later, Dad dies. And that's hard for a young dude in his life. That's a real tough loss. I was there when he died. And he went from being my father to what are we going to do with the body? Within moments, it was over. And I'm going through all this stuff, and this is the guy I would usually talk to, right? Dad. And I got to figure this out for myself. I don't want to figure this out for myself. You know, I was beat down. I wasn't living right, you know?
Right. And there's always this attempt. It's like you can't have, and freaking Charles Woods talks about this on The Real Black. It's like you can't have an all black movie, you know, especially an all black movie where it makes white people look bad. Like even in the Black Panther, what did they throw in the Black Panther, right? You got to have the white man who was in Wakanda or got brought to Wakanda after what? When they were, I think when Killmonger was escaping, right? He took the bullet, you know, for Janae's character, you know, the girl that was, you know, the leader of the Dora Milaje, right? So he takes the bullet. He's got the bullet in his back. You know, they heal him with vibranium by putting vibranium in the wound. And then, you know, he's taken to Wakanda and then he's treated with, super ultra Wakandan vibranium based technology, and his spine is healed, right? And so you got to have the white protagonist, or the white, I don't know what you call that character, but the white ancillary character that demonstrates that, see, not all white people are bad. You got to have that in the movie. Pick a movie, you'll always have that. You'll have it in 12 Years a Slave. You'll have it in, what other movie where you have it in? Glory. You'll have it in, what's the other movie I'm thinking of? Rosewood, right? You know, the white man that, you know, was kind of indifferent, but, you know, sold the guns to black people. You know, you always got to have that, right? And I guess it would be inaccurate to sit there and say that, you know, all white people were evil all throughout history and no white people ever helped black people, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is when we get depicted in the movies, like we don't get the same courtesy. Like it's either like, we're just criminals, or we get to be the magical Negro type of situation, or what are the things that they do in the movie, or we're the first ones to die, right? Like that's what happens to us. But with white people, whenever black people make a movie, it can't be an all black cast, and there has to be somebody white in the movie, and they have to make it to where you white, you can't touch on racism without there being some sort of white person that's coming to the rescue. This happened with Coming to America. Like that guy, who was the white guy that was in the McDonald's with the fries and shit like that. I forget what character. What's the name? The guy's name. The fat white guy. But anyway, he was put in the movie because they basically told Eddie Murphy, again based on the knowledge that I have, they told Eddie Murphy that you got to have a white guy in the movie. Why is it so necessary that we have to have a white guy, in the movie?
And Louis Anderson, how did he? I love seeing Louis Anderson in a caftan. I don't want to give too much away, but how did Louis?
It's a dashiki. It's a dashiki.
Is that a dashiki? Okay.
That's even funnier. Louis Anderson is a dashiki.
How did Louis come to be a part of that film and your world there?
I love Louis, but I think we were forced to put Louis in it.
What?
No, I think we were forced to put a white person. Yeah, Paramount was like because the whole cast is black, and this was back in the the 80s. So it was like, we have to have a white person. We can't it has to be a white person in the movie. Like, what? And so it was, who's the funniest white guy around, right? And Louis, we knew him, was cool with him. And so that's how Louis got in the movie.
Wow. Louis is the funniest white person you know. That's a pretty great distinction to have.
Well, back then, it was 1988. It was all, I was like, Louis was really funny. And it was like, we gotta have a white guy. Okay, Louis would be perfect.
Louis still pretty funny.
Louis was perfect.
And in fact,
Jimmy,
yes, Louis
it was really, it was official. I had a list. They gave me a list with 3 white guys, and they said, who would you rather work with?
Really?
To Louis.
Do you remember the other 2?
Oh yeah, but I can't say.
You can't say. All right. When we come back, we're gonna take a visit. We're gonna jump in the time.
And there's all type of excuses white people will make that, it's white people won't want to go see a movie with an all black cast. We don't want it to be labeled a black movie, right? There's all these Hollywood bullshit fears and everything, which always ties back to black people not being able to tell their own story, their full story. You saw this with the fuckery and the bullshit with what was that? Miracle at Santa Ana with Spike Lee. You know what I'm saying? Like you got all the black soldiers, somehow they get in a fight over Brittany Murphy because they were banging Brittany Murphy. Then you got what's the other movie? Red Tails. They throw some random Italian white chick in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like really, and they always have to throw some fuckery. And even in this trailer, the woman king, if you look in the trailer, they have an interracial relationship. Black girl, gets with the one of the white, slave guys. And so, they got to throw that in there, right? And some people would be like, oh, well, it's historically accurate, this, that, but it's like, you can never have a movie where black people, tell their story without white people going, oh no, you can't do that because you're not going to get it through our channels of mainstream media. It would take more than just black people coming out with a movie. Black people are not able to just come out with a movie, make a movie, and then Hollywood's going to pick it up and it's going to hit the mainstream and big budget, and all that stuff. The only time that I think something like that happened was like Friday. You know what I'm saying? But, when it comes to, these big budget Hollywood, type, there's always going to be white people they got to get their little grubby hands all over it and slip their messages, into the shit. Now, anyway, I got ahead of myself, but I'm saying, again, yeah, I agree with O'Shea about, we black men need to create these, our own, Hollywood, be able to depict ourselves the way that we want to depict ourselves, and also depict, black women, the way that we want them to be, portrayed. Now, some people didn't like, example, like Captain Solo, he wouldn't care about the noise. He's like, this is what it is, this is how it's done, and we did it, and you're just going to have to deal with it, right? Even though I know that there would be all type of bitching. If black men came up with a movie about Africa and it had a black producer and a black writer and a black everything, the where we are now with all this penis envy that's going on, there would be black women that would be bitching about how some black woman in the movie was playing some subordinate role or some submissive role or something like that. Like this issue of women wanting to basically be men, and as Patrice O'Neal said, they hate being women. They want their own, shark music. They don't want to be the girl shark, right? And they will go out there and they will date seals and they will date penguins, and then they will become resentful of the seal and the penguin, and then eventually eat the seal and penguin because, it starts off they want to be revered, but then it turns into the fact that the penguin and the seal is weaker, than she is as the female great white shark. So she eats them, right? And women struggle with this whole aspect of they want to be strong, but they want to be feminine. They want to be strong, but they want you to thirst them and desire them through a feminine lens, which just simply isn't going to happen. So they just run around angry and frustrated and all that shit. And, brothers go out there and they jump in the fence and getting with other women that ain't on that shit. But like I'm agreeing with, I agree that, yeah, we should definitely have our own shit, because this is what's going to happen. So I can't disagree with O'Shea on that, because, again, I was going to say the same thing. Like, this is what's going to happen when others decide to, create stories about us and how they're going to depict shit, and just, again, I just see it as a way of, dividing up the black community even more. I mean, these conversations are public. Kevin Samuels, we know how big he got, okay? They know what they're doing when they throw these gender bombs, in the black community. Again, we got armies of black women and black feminists and all these woke women that they think this is so great. Yeah, this is great. Viola Davis up there with the sword. Oh, yeah, she's kicking ass, until everybody's running around talking about how unattractive and masculine black women are. Then when we get to the beauty contest and black women aren't winning the beauty contest, then they start bitching, where when they're viewed as being different and separate from other races of women, and not in the same feminine light, then the bitching is going to come. Then the complaining is going to come. I mean, and I'm like, this was already a problem in Black Panther. This was already a problem in Black Panther. And so now it's like, now we have further reinforcement. I'm like, God damn, how many sweaty black women am I going to see with spears and fucking swords and, we're kicking ass. I mean, I got to love the way the trailer like starts off. It's, the classic Kenyan African voice, you know what I'm saying? Just what did they say at the beginning? You know what I mean? But we have a weapon, the black woman. They might as well just said it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a weapon. A great evil is coming, right? And then it says, but we have a weapon, the black woman. I'm like, oh, here we go with this shit. They just show you in the trailer a bunch of black men riding off on horseback. Like, where are these niggas going? Like, where the fuck are they going? Like, they just, oh yeah, because niggas ain't around, so we're reinforcing the idea of black male abandonment and all that shit. And so now the black women, they're left behind to defend the village and defend everything. And like Dr. T. Hassan Johnson said, this tribe that they're talking about, this all-female tribe, not only were they essentially massacred and didn't last long against the Europeans, but they were a part of this tribe that they're talking about was participated in the slave trade. And I don't even know if this movie is even going to touch on that or whether they're just going to paint this glorified picture of, you know, the noble black people fighting off the you know, the Europeans. So basically, it's going to almost be like a black version of the movie Apocalypto, produced by Mel Gibson. Even though I don't think that the Europeans didn't come until the very end of the movie. It was more about internal conflict and whatnot. And that was actually a pretty damn movie, despite all of Mel Gibson's history of racist tirades and other forms of bigotry. But you know, it's like how do I want to say this? You know, just like the way looking at this movie, how it's portrayed. Like I just think, you know, this is where a lot of women's, you know, minds are at right now. You know, they don't want to play, you know, any sort of, I mean, again, coming online, listening to the bitching, listen to the, oh, it's colorism, it's, you know, this, and black women are only depicted in this negative light and everything, right? I thought the argument was that we need to correct that and show black women in, you know, love roles, lusted and desired and all that. But you got armies of women that, you know, they don't want that. You know, that's a weak role. I'm not your property. Da 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 da. You know, all that crap. And so now it's like what we really want is we want to be men and we want to pull the dick out on you. It's like, okay, so now you're the warrior. Now you're the Billy badass, right? And it's not like you don't have white women that are in, you know, that play these roles. You got Wonder Woman, you got Atomic Blonde, you know, you got all this stupid, you know, freaking you know, the white woman, you know, jumping up, doing the scissor kick around the dude's neck and then twirling around his body and then, you know, doing this judo flip and throwing the man across the, you know, a 250-pound man across the room, breaking chairs and shit like that. And she only weighs 115 pounds. I mean, you know, I get, you know, they keep doing this with all these fucking movies. Star Wars, you know, you got freaking, what's her name? Rey, you know, the freaking Chewbacca and Han Solo been flying around the freaking galaxy in the Millennium Falcon. This bitch comes out of nowhere, hops in the Millennium Falcon and just knows how to fly the ship, and she's flipping it around the desert like it's a goddamn skateboard, like she's Tony Hawk in the damn thing. Like, how do you know how to fly this shit? You've never been in it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just women's intuition. Like, it's just nonsense. Never picked up a lightsaber, doesn't know how to fucking use the goddamn thing, but yet she's able to go toe to toe, you know, with her brother who's you know, been, you know, immortalizing and freaking elevating and fantasizing about, you know, Darth Vader and wanting to emulate him and be him. And he's been training every day to master his dark force powers, but she just comes in the room and knows how to use a lightsaber and knows how to force push and all this other shit. I'm like, oh my God. Like, they just keep doing this in all these movies. Now you got the new fucking Predator movie with the Native American bitch. So now, you know, she's going to go up against, you know, the Native American, this like Native American version of the Predator, you know, which, like, you look at the first movie, it's like, okay, so let me get this right. So this Native American bitch with a bow and arrow and some damn animal fur, she's going to go up against the Predator, right? That in the first Predator movie, right, you had all these muscle bound, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, freaking, who was the guy that played, you know, the original Apollo Creed? I can't think of what his name is on top of my head. You know, you got the Jesse Ventura, you got the Native American muscle bound dude. You got all these freaking dudes that are muscle bound. They're special forces. You know what I'm saying? You got the black dude with the minigun, all this bullshit. But yet, she's going to defeat this Predator with a hatchet and a bow and arrow because women are just that awesome, right? And so I guess they got to do it with the black chicks too, right? So we got to have, you know, all these black women that, you know, they're going to go up against this this army of white men and show you their kick-ass moves. And, you know, everybody thinks that it's great. you know. And even speaking on it, which is one of the reasons I didn't want to make the video, you know, all you're going to be accused of is, you know, you're just jealous of black women, and black women are doing big things, and you're just a misogynist, like, I don't fucking feel like hearing all that bullshit. I'm like, nah, fuck it, let it play out. And then it's just going to be reinforcement of the masculinity of black women. And then when the time comes that there's a beauty contest or a femininity comparison between black women and other races of women, they're just going to lose, and they're going to act like they don't know where their negative reinforcements come from. And I'm like, oh, remember that movie that you were co-signing? You know, because, you know, again, you know, the white girls, they got enough shit that offsets these sort of, you know, negative stereotypes and shit. They can do the warrior movie because they got tons of femininity movies. You see what I'm saying? It's like the same thing I said about porn. Like, white men smut white women out all over the place in pornography, but somehow white women being smutted out, freaking Lana Rhoades up there talking about how she's, you know, drinking bowls of bukkake, you know, somehow that doesn't stick to the white woman. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, sisters, it's like every negative thing fucking, you know, sticks. Now, on a side note, I had a conversation with Captain Soul about the Kim Kardashian and shit, because I don't know, black women are bitching about it was like nappy headed hoba for Harriet. They're bitching about, you know, the fact that the Kardashians are transitioning back into white women, I guess, because they're done dealing with black men, you know, and, you know, it's like they're trying to make it like about black men. Look, I'll be the first one to say, I wish that none of these black men dealt with the Kardashians. I don't think that their relationships really could have flourished anyway, because Kris Jenner is like mama matriarch. So, you know, it's like they left one matriarchy, the black community, for another matriarchy. And I remember when Kanye West made the statement that he was calling her Chris Jong-il, you know what I mean? Like, basically saying that she's acting like, you know, a North Korean dictator, right? Because she's trying to control things. But Kanye is just not a reliable source. He has most moments of like what do you call that? Not lucency, but like moments of clarity. But then he goes back to like when he was on Joe Rogan talking about mechanical bees and shit, and Joe Rogan was like, the fuck are you talking about? Now, Cap says that shit references to some Twilight movie, and he was like, nah, Kanye should be in jail for even saying that. I don't know what movie he's talking about, something with mechanical bees, and the bees are killing people and stuff like that. I don't know. Cap has a photographic memory about everything, so he was just like, nah, Kanye was fucked up for that one. I don't even know what he's talking about, and most other people don't know what he's talking about. But Cap says he thinks he knows what this shit is referencing. The other two, what is it? Odom, the basketball player, don't pay attention, don't watch sports. And then you got the Tristan and shit like that. I don't know anything about these guys. You know, I'm like, whatever happened to the whole, they're dumb jocks. Jocks are dumb. They don't know shit. Again, going back to what Brittany Renner said, you know, I'm like, these are not, you know, these, you know, scholarly black men that, you know, have, you know, any damn sense of critical thinking. You know, again, half the time it's like 1 minute Kanye will say something that's profound, and then the next minute, you know, he's just making these random ramblings. So I don't really look to them for any sort of logical or consistent behavior in terms of what everybody's picking up about, you know, Kanye and him being with Kim and whatever bullshit they're going to. I don't care. I just keep seeing them. Every time something happens with the Kardashians, it's all up on the Shade Room. The Shade Room is owned, operated, and controlled by a Nigerian black woman. I'm like, again, nobody talks about the Kardashians more than black women do. They bitch about, you know, the Kardashians being famous and all this other shit and how they making money. And yes, I hate the fact that black men are somehow brought into that or attached to that because they fucking with them. But it's like white men determined that they can make, like, I see this like jealousy, and I don't blame black women entirely for the jealousy, but I see this jealousy with black women, and it's an understandable jealousy. Let me make it clear. But it's like, it's like take this shit up with God sometimes, right? And it's like, because this is how I look at it, right? Because the argument will be, oh, well, black men are powerless, and that's what the problem is, and we're attached to black men, and that's why we can't go out here and do the Kardashian thing. That could be argued, but how I look at it, I'm like I said before, there's only like 2 dark-skinned people on the planet, black people and like South Indian people. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to throw in Melanesians in there. Other than that, everybody else is fair skinned. Everybody else pretty much shares, more features together. They all can use the same comb. They don't have dark skin. Whether you talk about white people, talking about Asian people, talking about Arab people, okay, talking about Indian people, they can use the same comb, light and dark, right? Talking about Hispanic people, right? And then, you could throw up, your mixed and biracial people, and that's just a clusterfuck because people got all different various features and whatnot. But I'm saying none of them are going to be as dark as black people from the continent. So it's like I look at the whole situation with Kim. Yeah, white people establish themselves as a dominant group. They control Hollywood. They control the media and everything. They determine what bitch becomes famous for whatever reason. Regardless, like they're like, oh, black men are the ones that made Kim famous and all this stuff. White men are the ones that made Kim famous. I don't even know what they're doing because it doesn't make any sense, to me, other than, in ways of them trying to undermine the black community. But you already know that they don't like the idea of black men being with white women. But they're the ones that can promote whatever they want to promote. They can literally just take whatever. If Kim was with a white man and they wanted to promote Kim and make Kim, the shit, and the Kardashians the shit, they could do that. They can go up there and do that. And all the other races, this was so crazy. This is like the whole imbalance, right? And this is where, Divine Brown comes in where, yeah, see, y'all got to run a race war, right? To reverse the whole shit. Where you would have black people on the top, mixed people would be below that, and then like all the other races would be like aspire to be mixed people, but they couldn't get any higher than that, which is basically like where black women are in terms of them trying to like be, white women or some people will argue mixed women. People just whatever is at the top, they're trying to, however many degrees of separation there are, they're trying to get to that next level to get to that look. Right. But I'm saying I just don't see a world where even if, black men were, we were controlling the media and we put something out there, or we put out this, took a sister and she had a sex tape and we put it up there. I don't see other races of women identifying with black women. And maybe I'm not thinking about it right because, I guess maybe if we controlled the whole thing and we enslaved white people for 400 years and the whole world was topsy-turvy, then maybe it would play out like that. But I'm saying white people still are closer to, or Asians or Asians are closer to them, however you want to say it. I'm saying we look different from white people. We look different from Asian people. We look different from Arab people. So I just don't see where, when black women, they look at the media, they look at the television, I get it. And they feel some type of way. It's like, why is this bitch be able to have a sex tape and she's making millions and she's doing this and she's doing that. And I'm like, I almost want to just be like, it's the way that it is. You know what I mean? It's just the way that it is because, again, what other market is there available? Sisters say this all the time. They can't be us. They can't imitate a black woman. Exactly. So how are you going to sell your beauty products to them? How are you going to sell your beauty products? So how does that work? Again, it would have to go back to what Divine said, win a race war, where you have Asian women trying to tease their hair and wear perms to try to look as close to a black woman and have their hair grow up and out as humanly possible. It would have to be some shit like that. You know what I mean? But like where we are now with people thinking that you can just come in with a slight little tweak and that the rest of the world is going to somehow get with the program of black people or look at black people, that's not going to happen. It would literally take black people taking over the world, enslaving white people for 400 years, having massive amounts of propaganda, having we don't need thermonuclear weapons. No, black people would have to have fucking UFOs and shit. And we just, go to war against other countries and just hover over their cities with our UFOs and our, Independence Day destructive laser beams and shit like that. That would be the only way, to turn the shit around. But it's just this constant, boo-hoo, woe is us, woe is our position. And it's you just can't do anything. Like, you can't even have just simple, relationships, marriage, be happy, all that. No, because no, we want to somehow be warrior princesses at the same time that we can make a sex tape, bust it wide open, get paid millions of dollars, have every other group of women on the planet want to be us, want to look like us, and have the whole situation play. It's just a clusterfuck of wants. It's just a clusterfuck of wants. You want to be men, you want to pull out the penis, you want to make sex tapes and be rewarded for it, and freaking, be the standard of beauty, and be the boss bitch, hot girl summer. I mean, man, but somehow still maintain a level of ghetto fabulous, which wouldn't exist if we were the dominant group. There would be nothing about us that would be defined as ghetto. It's a hot mess. It's a hot fucking mess, but it's just, I don't know, the how this would be corrected. And what was the core of what I was just trying to say about, this is the whole problem with white people having as much control over the media as they do. Even when black people, in other words, all this talk about, when I talk about absolute creative control, you know what I mean? And you got to talk about the economics that go into, what it means to have absolute creative control. It means that again, what funds media, advertising, business, what I mean? And where are black people's businesses? That doesn't exist. Don't have that. Right. This goes into even living in a black neighborhood, as wokety woke as you want to be, currently speaking, as an African American, I can't move into a predominantly a black neighborhood because my property value won't appreciate. As much as I would love to be around black people and not be around white people and deal with their bullshit and everything, I still got to protect my own assets. Right. And so this is where we run into this dangerous place, where we're looking for white approval in order to determine what is valuable. And that can't happen. Black people are going to have to establish for themselves, both men and women, that what they want is valuable. I hear this, even rhetoric with the promoting of black women. It's they want you to promote them so that they can be more desirable to white men to go off and get with white men. Huh? Why would black men do that? You know what I'm saying? So there's still this angle of the white man's ice is colder. There's still this angle of looking for their approval and their validation at the same time that we're trying to establish our own value. And this is in everything. This is in the beauty. This is in freaking, the automobiles that we buy, people running around talking about Birkin bags. Who makes Birkin bags? Talking about Jimmy Choo shoes. Who makes those? All type of luxury items, again, people running around, talking about wokety woke and pro-black this and everything else like that, but you drive a Mercedes, okay? But you got a Rolex. Every luxury item that you have in your house, in your jewelry cabinet, ain't got nothing to do with black people in Africa. And it's I remember when Chrissy made the statement, and she was like, what's Afrocentric about being ghetto fabulous? It was something like that. Some statement that she made like that. You know what I mean? And that's a damn good question. That's a very poignant question. You know, and so we're just kind of like stuck in this state, you know, when it comes to how we want to depict ourselves, both past and present, where it's like, instead of just, saying, hey, this is what it is, we either have to go through white channels, which you already know it's going to get warped, or somehow we're out here looking for white validation to co-sign something that we're trying to establish value in, but if they don't value it, then we don't value it. It's like that. It doesn't work that way. This goes back to what I said about the whole, white people being like the freaking Mandalorians and shit. It is the way. And then black people are like, it is the way. It is the way. What the fuck you mean it is the way? Just because they stood up and decided that it is. This is why this is what black people do. Black people don't value some shit until white people take it. When white people take it, then we want to scream and say, oh, cultural appropriation. Oh, we want credit for that. But we don't care about it. We let white people take over rock and roll, right? We let black musicians just die out. Then we run around, freaking, Bruno Mars, he's culturally appropriating. Oh, we bitch about that shit. What other things have been taken? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, if hip hop, I'm telling you, the year 2092, there'd be some documentary talking about, and hip hop was founded by a young white male in Detroit, and his name was Eminem. I wouldn't be surprised if you started seeing documentaries like that. By that time, black people have long abandoned hip hop and we moved on to some other shit and nobody's rapping anymore. I'm not saying I can't think of that actually happening, but I'm just saying, like, we let that shit happen with everything else. And then black people stand up and bitch about cultural appropriation. And honestly, like, the shit that's going on now, like with the gender war and a lot of the stuff that y'all sisters say that you want, I'm like, look, you can't have it both ways. A lot of you all, that's what you want. You want you will literally be able to pull your dick out and put it on my forehead and then have me lust and desire you and see you as nothing more, or see you as more feminine than other groups. Freaking Pink Book Lessons just put out that video of this woman laying in bed talking about what she's not going to do. I'm like, really? Really? And other women are not on that. They're not trying to en masse be fucking warriors. They're not trying to en masse. I don't know what black women's motivations are at this point. I really don't. I'm only speculating as to what their motivations are. I'm like, you want to be seen as beautiful and feminine at the same time y'all want to be warriors. At the same time you want to be lusted and desired. I'm like, how does this work? And it's like, no matter what black men say, like, they don't care. It doesn't matter to them. I'm like, look, I'm not attracted to that. That's not sexy to me. And they just keep trying to like push it. Or you'll have some women say, well, it's not about being sexy. It's about us being warriors and showing our autonomy and our, kick-assness or whatever, and not being confined to the heteronormative, cisgendered, patriarchal dynamics of, I'm like, oh my God, like, how did we get this far off course? Like, seriously, like, I literally feel lost in space. Like, how the fuck did we get this far off course? And so it's like the problems that were kind of like the big, like, we had like, like 5 key problems that we had to address, right? Media promotion, economics, working together, self-hate issues, colorism, right? So we had like all these things that we had to address, right? But now it's like, now we have some more shit to lay on there, and it's not even something that can be fixed because it's like not a dynamic I'm gonna subscribe to. Like, I'm not subscribing to matriarchy or role reversal, so that there's nothing for me to fix. There's nothing for me to, like, in other words, like, I am a patriarchal man with a patriarchal mindset. There's nothing for me to fix so I can be a better matriarch or better matriarchal male. There's nothing for me to fix. I'm not participating in that shit. Or these goofy dynamics that some of these women want, or the role reversal that they're advocating for. I'm not here to fix that. You know what I mean? The complaints where the community's broken and black men don't control the economic landscape. Yeah, I'm down to fix that. But y'all talking some other shit about y'all want to be recognized and where's your dun music? I'm like, hey, my mind did not process you having dun music. You know what I'm saying? This shit revolved around, okay, you say you're not going to give us respect because X, Y, and Z aren't in place. Okay, fine. But I did expect that once things were corrected, that I would be recognized and that, you would recognize the dun music when you heard it. But no, that's not what we're seeing now. What we're seeing now is penis envy, and we want to be men but we want to be women at the same time. It's so fucking confusing. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And it's like the things that I thought, and at one point in time, I'm like, okay, this needs to be corrected. Now it's like, nah, there's all these new ideas came into this space, and now even correcting it the way that I thought that everybody wanted it to be corrected, based on all the bitching that was going on when I first came online. Yeah, now that's sexist. Now that's misogynistic. Now that's problematic. Now I'm trying to put sisters in a box and whatnot. And it's like they just want to be this ever-changing, fluid being that is undefinable. And I'm like, there's downsides to being undefinable. I hope you all do know that. So when you all don't get the positive labels that other groups of women will get, there's reasons why you're not getting that when you literally, stand fast or what is it, steadfast or stand fast? Anyway, when you literally, stand there and you want to be undefinable. I've seen this trend over the last 1 or 2 months of just these women just putting out this content about how they want to be undefinable or they want to, define themselves. But I don't know why black women's idea of defining themselves is placing themselves in the very masculine lens that they argued that they don't want to be in. And then again, they're all upset and jealous and bitter and frustrated at how, other women are able to, maintain or have, these sort of feminine, ideals or concepts about themselves that only reinforce the male gaze. And then throw up the whole idea that the male gaze is problematic. I'm not your property. I'm not for your objectification. Oh my God, here we go with this bullshit. Seeing more and more videos of women talking about men not approaching. I thought we were catcalling. I thought it was street harassment. Now all of a sudden, what's going on with men? Men aren't approaching. It's nuts. The shit is all over the place. Like I said, the woman talking about what she's not going to get with. I don't know. Yeah, we got problems. Black community's got problems. Black men's got problems. This whole not controlling the media, that's not some cool shit. And then the black men that the white media likes to put up there, and throw millions of dollars at, that have their own studios and shit, are people like Tyler Perry that only promote, gay, homosexual, homoerotic, LGBT fuckery in the black community. You know what I'm saying? So, it's almost like what, I forget who it was, but I think it was who talked about that with the way that the labels work and how, they only promote albums that, promote negativity in the black community, gangster rap and drill music and shit like that. There's a bunch of positive artists that are coming out with shit, but that doesn't get pushed. Doesn't get pushed. Again, the social engineers, are not allowing that, or the social engineering gatekeepers aren't allowing that shit to happen. You know what I mean? Because, most people are not just running around on some woke shit like, oh, this is how I condition myself. Most people don't sit around conditioning themselves. They get conditioned. That's how the shit works. And what we need in the black community, and I'll give this credit back to Mr. Hollipsism, because he was the one that originally coined, the phrase in terms of, how I'm using it, which is we need some architects in the black community. You know what I mean? But where do they get the funding? Where do they get the resources? You know what I'm saying? Where is the black Hollywood? You know what I mean? Is Tyler Perry going to step down and say, hey, you can use my backyard and his fucking crazy ass fucking mansion to come up with some shit that is going to be heteronormative, cisgendered, so that we can have a patriarchal black community? But again, if all the people that, are in positions of fucking power and shit and getting backed by white zaddy, are on some goofy shit, whether it's some feminist shit or whether it's some LGBT shit, again, you already know it's going to be some fuckery. And then I'm not saying that black men shouldn't go off and create, our own messaging and everything, but we're not going to be backed by, the greater white society or the system. And we're going to actively have to, challenge and push back against the fuckery that they like to promote and push in our community. We're going to have to actively push back against that shit, because they're not going to let up. They're not. They're going to promote themselves, oh, here's heroic white man, and oh, here's some gay ass black men. They're going to constantly fucking push that shit. You know what I mean? But black men, straight heteronormative cisgender black men, are going to have to, again, we're going to have to control these goddamn narratives, about not only our own image, this goes back to, educated lames asserting themselves, but also the image of our women, which we will get pushback from them as well. You'll come up with a movie and like, just like Bill Cosby did. And how many people running around talking about the Cosby is up there trying to promote a positive imagery of freaking, a black family. His wife was a lawyer. He was a doctor. You know what I mean? I remember they had, what did they say? It was like, he said something. I don't know who was the person that, I always get shit fucked up, but it was like either Lisa Bonet or Rudy or somebody on there got pregnant in real life. And he was like, no, so-and-so might be pregnant. Like, let's just say it was Lisa Bonet. It's like, Lisa Bonet is pregnant, but, her character on the Huxtables is not pregnant. You know what I'm saying? He was big on that shit. But yet you still have black people, that ain't real. The Cosby Show ain't real. I don't know anybody living like that. It's all single mothers where I'm from, and just like people just couldn't accept it for what the fuck it is. And it's so amazing whenever you try to portray positive imagery of black people don't even want to suspend their disbelief for 30 seconds. But let white people come up with some just completely fanciful shit, and black people start acting like, yeah, that's right. That's right. We accept that shit. Again, they come in the room, I have spoken, it is the way, and black people are like, yep, it is the way. I'm like, really? Really? So they come in the room and they come up with some fuckery ass movie, and we sit there and we smiling and co-signing and giving our money and everything else. But then, let a black man try to come up with some, positive, traditional imagery. Y'all rejecting that shit. Just completely rejecting. I've seen this with especially the confusion for Harriet, from Kim. I mean, her shit, 1 minute she went feminine, next minute, no, I don't want this. Then she realizes that there's drawbacks to the shit. You know what I mean? Backpedaling, remember she was on her broke shit, then turn around and she got a maid in the background. Just fucking confused. You know what I mean? And these are the people that like have like all these audiences and these voices in the black community, and y'all sit there and you co-sign because you don't fucking critically think. You fucking want your videos emotional because you like literally 1% of what was said, and you just ignore all the rest. And I'm like, did you not hear what the rest of the fuck she just said? You know what I mean? No, I like this 1% right here. This 1% is black female empowerment. But everything else she said don't make any goddamn sense. It's not even consistent. But y'all just fucking overlook that shit. And then you come in my comments section acting like, yeah, see, O'Shea, he holding black men accountable. As though I don't have a fucking million videos holding black men accountable saying the same goddamn shit. But y'all only want to criticize and bitch about the shit that y'all don't like. I make videos about black men and y'all ain't got nothing to say. I make videos about black women. Y'all bitching up a storm and y'all upset. And the men do the same thing. I make a video about black women. Yeah, that's right, Pete. Yeah, that's right. Where can I donate, nigga? Man, put your Cash App up, nigga. I got money for you. Let me criticize brothers, and all of a sudden, unsubscribe, nigga. Unsubscribe. Really? Unsubscribe, really? Unsubscribe, nigga. I ain't coming back. And then they'll be back here, 2 weeks later. I'll have another video, and let's say I'm criticizing women. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's just fucking idiots. But that's what we're dealing with. So again, like, the movie hasn't come out, whatever. I'm sure there'll be some hidden gems. Oh, maybe this is cool, but already, about this tribe and how much they were involved in slavery. It's like inaccuracies in there, and that's the dangerous part. I don't mind, like, when it's like, remember when they came out with Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Slayer? Remember when they came out with that shit? It's like, yeah, that was some retarded shit. I don't like them fucking with history. I don't like them fucking with the slave trade and putting out, shit that just, like, saying slavery is just a horrible, like, in other words, if this was the Holocaust, you know what I'm saying? Then again, I take that back. I guess I got to take that back, because they did come out with Inglourious Bastards, and that was just some totally made up shit. You know what I mean? But I just feel like when they do these African movies about trying to, change the history and the narrative, like what actually happened, and tweaking it and whatnot, it doesn't come off like we're in an alternative universe. Like, people take this shit as historical facts without looking up the facts. And you already know how much African Americans don't like to look up the facts about the actual history of what happened, pre-colonial and post-colonial West Africa. You know what I mean? Let the Hoteps tell, we was kings and queens and we was all walking around with scepters and tiaras. For real. Kings, everybody was a king and queen. Just everybody. You know what I mean? Like, just nonsense. And so, this just, it just adds to the goofiness. It adds to the people not being accurate. Like it's like, it'd be one thing if we actually had a grasp on West African history and the tribes and the peoples and their significance. Only a handful of scholarly people do, but we don't. So when people don't have a grasp on the actual facts, and then they see a movie like this, they start thinking that shit's the real deal. And to me, that's very problematic. It's very problematic. You know what I mean? Like in other words, in order for you to suspend belief, you need to actually know what the reality is. If you don't know that this isn't accurate, then you're going to think that this is accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, did I say that right? Anyway, you're going to think that you're going to believe what you're seeing because you don't know to suspend, belief, or suspend what you already know, the historical facts that you know. But I mean, I don't want to make this. I'm already at an hour. I don't want to make this video any longer. I'm just, there's just so much in the movie that already, just from the trailer, black men are not present. You know what I mean? Doesn't really go into the detail. You got freaking Olivia. What's her name? Why can't I think of her name all of a sudden? I am literally just going blank, and I reference her all the damn time. Viola Davis. I don't know why I'm going fucking blank, but anyway, you got Viola Davis's character challenging, the dude from Star Wars. He's kind of like this sitting king, but he looks like a feckless king. Like he just, and she's like, some things are worth fighting for. You know what I mean? Like, really, you got to tell him that? Like, you got to tell him that, like, again, like, just more like low key making black men look weak. Like, these niggas don't know when to fight or what to fight for. But yet it shows us at the beginning black men riding off with shields on their back. But then at the same time, it kind of throws this low key diss of like, well, they're not present because, black men, black daddies ain't present, so they abandon their community, they abandon their women, they abandon this shit. And they've been doing that since ancient times, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's the sneak diss. Right. And then what else do they got in the fucking trailer that the little spears, they're going at each other with the spear, and the spear's going into the freaking shoulder, and so they're basically pushing against each other with this spear, and the dude backs down. It's almost like the Native Americans with the sun dance, right? So she's just badass because she could take more external pain than he could, which isn't even reality. Women can tolerate way more visceral pain than men can tolerate external pain, right? That's what they say, because it's just men have less pain receptors because they're the ones that are out there fighting and clashing and everything else like that. Women cannot take external pain like that if they're cut, slashed, bruised, whatever. This like isn't reality. It's just not reality. And women are just going, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh God. And it's like, we already have black women that are out of their fucking minds. You got this woman sitting up in front of Congress that Amazing Lucas did the video on. She's up there talking about, non-binary and trans men or women or whatever can have babies. I'm like, what are you talking about, lady? It's just all over the place. Everybody, this goes back to the whole thing about magical thinking. And I see it as much on the left as I see it on the right. Where people, the facts that they don't like, they just dismiss. They don't want to hear it. They're untethered from reality, and I just think it's a bad time, when we're going through all this quote unquote transition. And, the thing is when it comes to this transition, as a black man, it's not a closed market. It's not a closed market. It's not a closed ecosystem. All this stuff, all this pushback and everything, maybe sisters would get so stupid. Is like black men are already the most progressive when it comes to a lot of this shit, even though we get zero credit for it. So it's like, like women are bitching about, it's like black men have already made tons of concessions, like shit that we don't even care about, which is why you get some of these other races of women that come running to black men because, they're not as asshole-ish and hardcore about certain shit like their own race of men are. But then, you let black women tell it like we're the most, oppressive beings on the planet. And, we don't make any goddamn concessions and shit. Like, I mean, it's just nuts. But, that's their argument. We want you all to make concessions. And it's like, concessions to what end? To what end? What do you want me to bend over so you can bang me in the ass with a fucking dildo? Like, what? Like, concessions to what? Like, they just like they want to they bitch about you not being a man and not living up to some idea of manhood. But then they try to make you to make these concessions that completely undermine you even being that man that they just are trying to charge you with the crime of not being. Like, it's just so, it's like this goes nowhere. And this is, to me, it contributes to a lot of what you see with the black male exodus out of the black community and dating out and, all that stuff. Like, that's why this shit goes on. Colorism and all this other shit be damned. Like, this shit is like, Like I said, women think this is so great. It's fantastic. Yeah, until we have a beauty contest. You know what I mean? Until we have, a freaking, a cooperation contest. I don't know why y'all don't get this shit, man. I really don't. But, I mean, it should have just. And the thing is, let me say this. It's like, I know that this is like, there's like a global aspect to this. Because I hear the white guys bitching. I mean, you can look up all the red pill, white MGTOW videos. I mean, they sick of white bitches. They sick of white Western women. They're fucking sick of them. You got all these people just, I mean, they're just roasting the hell out of them. Undead Chronic and Red Pill Chris. He's such a sniveling bitch ass. I can't stand him. Better Bachelor. I mean, all these guys are just, all these channels, all these MGTOW channels. I remember when they had Mr. Sandman. I don't know if I haven't seen Sandman or heard of Sandman in a grip, but they had all these MGTOW channels and stuff. And so, they're bitching up a storm, but it's like, be due to, the history and the legacy of white supremacy in America and where black men, economically have been due to not controlling the economic landscape and not controlling, major industries and, these multi-billion-dollar corporations and stuff like that. It creates this funky dynamic with our women. And not only that, the fact that what was I going to say about the corporations and all that? Oh, like we don't have like where the white community, they have like a buffer. Like when you look around, you still see, at least the upper crust of white men still in positions of power, right? You still see, the top 3 like wealthiest people in the world: Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates. You know what I'm saying? Like white women can still look to that and be like, oh, white men at the top. But when black women look up, I mean, it's like, yeah, NBA players, athletes, bunch of rappers, and that's it. And so I'm saying we're already, like, in my opinion, they already have the wrong orientation. And then this shit comes in and reinforces wrong orientation. I'm like, nah, we can't take the hit. Like, we cannot take the hit. We already taken enough hits, as black people in America. And especially, from the perspective of the males, like a black patriarch, we already taken enough hits. This shit is already broken as it is. I mean, we got, like, I'd argue like more than, or at least 50% of the boys that are just fucking, I mean, they're in trouble. That's why you see all this shit out here, them killing each other in the streets. They're in serious trouble. And anytime we try to, redirect things towards the boys, it's like, here comes white supremacy with their bullshit. Right. And then the crazy thing is you get like they come in, they drop a bomb. Right. And then that creates more dysfunction in the black community. Then the dysfunction spills out of the black community into the white community. And then you get Fox News that are like, see, and that's why we should have left these niggas in chains and see the blacks and niggas and blah, blah, blah. And look at the crime and look at all this other shit going. Like, and then so they get up there and they start bitching about how black people are fucked up and black men. And what we need more stop and frisk and what like, and you're like, but you're over here dropping bombs. Y'all the motherfuckers over here dropping this fucking bullshit. Why don't you take that shit and run that shit in your own fucking community? It's like just like that Christina Aguilera song, where the lyrics was all fucked up. The lyrics was just basically, be an uncooperative, feminist and shit. And she's in the black community. It's like this 1970s looking video, and she's in the black community singing this like feminist womanist song in the black. Why don't you take that shit over to the fucking Latino community and sing that bullshit? Go over there and sing that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like again, same thing with, Cardi B and WAP and all that other shit. Now go take that shit over to the Hispanic community with that shit. It's like, I don't know, man. We just don't we don't guard our shit. And I don't even know how you could guard it because there's so many people that literally invite this shit into the space. They think it's wonderful. They think it's just the most amazing thing ever. And I'm like, do you not see what the fuck is going on out here? Do you not see how broken the black families and black relationships are? Do you not see the issue with not having, men, in that the dominant position? You know what I mean? And again, they want to make the arguments that what they really want is they want black male responsibility devoid of leadership. I'm like, it's never going to happen. It's too much goddamn work. You're not going to sell the idea of men taking on responsibilities devoid of leadership. It'll never happen. And if you all were as kick-ass as you say that you are, then why does the black community look the way that it does? And then we go into this stupid back and forth where they're like, we're black women, hear us roar, we're powerful, we're going to the moon and back. And then when you try to charge them why the community's broken, they'll say, well, that's not our job. That's your job because y'all niggas is weak. It's just, it's just constant circular arguments. It's just circular and circular and goes round and round and constant chicken before the egg arguments. I don't see as many black women jumping up saying, hey, this movie's a bad look. Just like I said with the shit with the abortion shit. Black women out there, I'm like, no, Becky does not have the reputation. Let her ass go out there and talk about how much she wants to have access to abortion. Because again, white women have the reputation that, they're not as sexually, irresponsible as black women. And again, you're not going to know that, Becky got sent up to Vermont to go have an abortion. You're not going to know that she was pregnant and she went away for a whole summer and came back and she looked like she lost weight. You're not going to know. You're not going to see that. But with black women, it's like, let's do a documentary on some inner city black women in Newark and talk about, them being single mothers. Let's do a PBS special on that. Right? Why don't you do a PBS special on white teen pregnancy and shit like that? Why don't you do a full documentary on that shit? Again, I keep telling y'all, they always want to be diverse when it comes to the negative shit. But when it comes to the positive shit, they want to be exclusive. They want to keep it exclusive. But, when it's negative, shit, hey, black girl, come on in. Come on in. See, we're not racist. See, come on, Keisha, sit down, have a seat. Yes. And sisters fall for it every time because it don't matter. It's just, as long as it looks like a spotlight, they're like, oh my God, is that a spotlight? It's like, that's the negative spotlight. No, but it's a bright light and it's shining down on a stage. Yeah, but did you read the sign on the outside of the building? Did you read the sign on the outside of the building? That's negative. It's like every spotlight is not a positive spotlight. Every fight is not your fight. And I'm saying, I'm not the only one saying that. You got black female YouTubers that have been trying to get you all on code with recognizing that every fight ain't your fight. But since y'all warriors, since you want to be warriors, since you want to co-sign movies like this, and I'm really kind of, low key irritated because there's the girl that's playing, I think it's Essie, she's the one that's got the face paint. She is a martial artist from Instagram, and she's damn good. And I don't know who the other brother is. You probably seen him on Instagram. The black dude that be doing all the guy that he was doing he's got, he usually has a sword, and sometimes they'll make it a lightsaber, and he's doing all these like acrobatic shinobi type flips and whatnot. And I had one clip where the brother, he pulled up in the car and he saw the dude doing the flips. He was like, teach me, brother, teach me the ways, right? This shit was hilarious, but I'm saying they really need to take this chick, I forget the other brother's name, but Samuel Ryder and the other brother that's doing the black martial arts shit, Disney needs to come up with another Disney movie because their lightsaber fights have been absolute trash. The damn lightsaber fights that are on freaking these fan-made movies on YouTube are way better. They need to take Samuel Ryder, basically it's a combination of rider and samurai because like she's a martial artist, but she rides a motorcycle. Anyway, but that's the girl who's playing Essie. So I'm sure they're gonna show a whole bunch of acrobatic ninja moves in the movie coming from her because she's a legit martial artist. But I'm saying they need to take those two, right? The two people I'm talking about. I can't remember what the brother's name is. I hate when I'm going blank like this. They need to take those two people, the ninja brother and the ninja sister, and make them Sith in the next Star Wars movie, and their brother and sister, and they battle it out. And obviously, probably have it one of them die, and the other one he either comes to the light of the dark, or she comes to the light of the dark, or they both die together, or they both come to the light together. They could, I mean, that would be the shit. And then you would finally have some legitimate black characters in the Star Wars movies instead of the bullshit they've been giving us. But that's where I wanted to see her. Get that girl a lightsaber. God damn it. And get that brother a lightsaber and put them together. But no, not Disney. No, we want to have these bullshit fucking Kylo Ren, Rey lightsaber battles that look like a bunch of 12-year-olds in the backyard, swinging fucking sticks at each other, imagining that they're swords. Like, stupid. Anyway. But, yeah, that's all I got to say. I don't want to have to add fucking video shit to this video. Like, maybe I'll just put the trailer and just keep it looped in the background. But again, like I told y'all, that whole computer thing, that whole need more space, need better software, that's some real shit. But, there's a lot of things that you got to put in place when you start taking people's money online so that you can do certain things. Because like I told y'all, and as y'all know, I'm not here to make money off of these conversations. Other people have taken that route. I get it. I don't blame them. But, there's a lot of things that come along with that. But anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe because, like I said, people keep talking about, and I just want to add this, they keep talking about, oh, you're shadow banned. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, I'm shadow banned. And I'm saying, y'all be, oh, and you don't have more views. That's because y'all don't share my shit. Let's be real about that. Y'all don't share my shit. So don't talking about, oh, we shadow banned. Like, you just observe it and just make the statement and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care whether you got to make another account, multiple accounts, to sub or like or whatever. But like I said, y'all don't, people say that they support me, but do they really? Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.
What's going on now? Probably the next day or so, I'm going to do a video about Coming to America, the sequel. But I'm going to touch on something. It was reported that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall were told they had to have a white person in the original Coming to America. And they picked Louis Anderson, the comedian, who had one of the funniest lines ever. When I get the fries, that's when the big bucks start to come in. But they had to have a token white person in the movie. Now, the trip out thing about it is this. Coming to America was pretty much a chocolate movie, straight black to black. Eddie Murphy had established himself as box office. But the powers that be still said you have to have a token. Remember Judge Reinhold was in the Beverly Hills Cop. And, of course, it's one thing he had Dan Aykroyd and Nick Nolte in his earlier movies. They had the white buddy cop. But by the time he, what movie I want to say, obviously by Beverly Hills Cop 2 and The Golden Child, because you don't remember nobody who was in the movie with him in The Golden Child. He was Eddie Murphy. You were like laughing with Eddie. Eddie was carrying it. But it goes to show you how Hollywood is. They asked him to have a token white person in a movie because they still didn't feel it was too black. How often do you think they would go to Adam Sandler and say you need to have a token black person in your film? See, this is interesting how this game plays out and, But anyway, it doesn't take away from Coming to America. I mean, it's one of the greatest movies ever. I love that movie. And I'm going to talk about the sequel when I do a video next day or two. But anyway, bottom line is this. Hollywood always got to put a little placement thing, placement here, placement there. And it really is like we got to have this, which didn't really make any sense. As if he wasn't playing enough characters in the movie, him and Arsenio. But it just goes to show you, you know, stuff is revealed 30 plus years later. And that's when he was in his peak in his prime. But that's what they told him to do. That's how the system works. And it's no offense to Louis Anderson. It's just that, come on now. They didn't need, they had enough juice in that film where they didn't need anything else. They had the film under wraps. But again, that's how it works in Hollywood. They will muscle you one way or the other, you know. And it didn't take away, but it didn't really add anything, you know. Because for years when they do the buddy cop movies, they always have to have black, white. And usually, black dude plays a straight-laced one, either funny or he's like Will on the ball, and they got the white dude who plays the oddball or something. This is a game that Hollywood be playing. But Eddie and Arsenio, they didn't need no help. And John Amos didn't need no help either playing the manager at McDowell's, you know. You was already in it. So, you know, but anyway. Give me your thoughts and takes.
Like mid-80s, I guess. I don't know why I'm really familiar with a couple of those albums.
What was it like playing a fictional character opposite a real-life character?
Well, that's the game that Don's playing with this movie all along the way. There's lots of factual reality in there. There's things that really happened to Miles, and there's things that are completely invented. And
you are one of the
inventions. And I'm one of those things, yeah. And his genius, I suppose, Don, was that's how he decided to make this film about Miles Davis, as opposed to making a sort of traditional biopic where we follow, you know, the historical facts of his life. He's sort of cast Miles Davis as the leading role of a movie that he thinks Miles Davis might have liked to have been in, you know? I think that really works, and it works especially because of who we're talking about, Miles Davis. It's sort of...
I've heard you say that your showrunners sort of take storylines or jokes and they take it as far as you can possibly go, and then you sort of rein them in and you say, yeah. you can say that.
Yeah, if you're on camera, you can say that joke. You want to come in and do that one? I got to walk around in the face of that. No, I'm not doing that.
So can you give us some examples of that and where your line is?
And ruin it right now?
Yeah, let's get rid of Seth and Evan. Okay.
Yeah, set your career on fire. No, they just push hard, and I think they do it because you don't really know where the line is sometimes until you've stepped over it, and then you go, oh, that was the line. I guess we're over here now. But I think that the protection is always that the joke is always on the people that are saying the line. It's not, we're not making fun of the people that are the subject of it. It's that these people are so blind they have no self-awareness that they are hilarious because they're trying to process this through their prism of blindness. And that's why they are hilarious, you know. They're the people who are the joke. Both of the writers are Jewish, and they like to throw in some anti-Semitic jokes, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. You can say that one. I'll make up the black joke. You stay off of that one. Yeah.
Another thing that
I just wanted to add these two clips in the video. I couldn't find Don Cheadle actually addressing, you know, what happened. Ewan McGregor, who we all know is Obi-Wan Kenobi from the last few Star Wars movies, you know, he kind of puts it on Don Cheadle, and that's not accurate. Basically, Don Cheadle, in trying to get the Miles Davis movie funded, he struggled to get it funded, and they basically told him, well, we're not funding it unless you have a white character in the movie. And that's where you hear this white woman interviewing Ewan McGregor basically, you know, point out the fact that he was a complete fabrication. Miles Davis never had a white friend that is being depicted in this movie, and Hollywood is what made Don Cheadle do that. But I can't find a clip of them actually addressing it. I also have this other clip in where he's talking about the writers being Jewish and coming up with some anti-Semitic jokes. And he's like, I'm not going to say that. You say that. I'm not lighting my career on fire. But these are the type of things, that take place, not to mention, as has already been pointed out numerous times, conversations about, always wanting to put black men in dresses. You know, I mean, and Hollywood's got some weird shit going on, and this rolls right into Harvey Weinstein and all that other nonsense and, you know, homoeroticism and, you know, stuff that Terry Crews was talking about them, you know, hitting him in the balls and grabbing his ass and all of the type of nonsense, which, you know, should be no surprise why we see a lot of this push of, you know, homoeroticism and LGBTQism coming out of Hollywood. So anyway, I just wanted to throw these clips in here so that y'all could see, you know, the fuckery that was going on. Because I'm saying, just watch the clip of this white woman, you know, just pointing at, you know, in the interview, she's like, yeah, and you were a fabrication, you were totally made up. Again, putting, you know, these white folks in these movies, telling black people, oh, you gotta put this in here. You know, otherwise, you know, we're not letting, you know, these movies get through our channels. We're not letting these movies get through our filters. And this is why, you know, when we talk about black movie production, black people are going to have to be completely, you know, independent. And like I said, this rolls into having the businesses and all that stuff, which rolls into, you know, being able to pay, you know, for advertising, you know, and all that when it comes to, you know, the movies and the productions and everybody who wants to affiliate themselves with the movies. There's a whole apparatus that goes along with, you know, movie production and creation and all that. And black people are going to have to position themselves to be completely independent of Hollywood. Now, I don't know how possible it is or, you know, what the details are. I'm not in that world. I'm just saying, you know, when somebody else controls, you know, when they're the gatekeepers on shit, this is the type of stuff that happens.